No one can replace the queen. It is Wendy's place to share her story with you. But I do want to give the queen her flowers because Wendy had a legendary career in radio, and this show was specifically crafted for her. No one can do this format but Wendy.
A 3-floor penthouse with a private elevator, 2 full-time personal drivers, a personal chef, a life coach, a custom-built mechanical purple chair designed to glide her onto the stage so she doesn't have to walk, and allegedly, a retroactive multi-million-dollar payout for how they got rid of her in the first place. That is reportedly what's on the table for Wendy Williams right now, because according to multiple reports, Debmar-Mercury is in active talks to bring her back to daytime television in 2026, and they are pulling out every stop imaginable to make it happen. And the craziest part? The seat they're clearing for her still has Sherri Shepherd's name on it. Let me walk you through how we got here because this story has layers that most people are completely missing. Let's start with the cancellation itself because the way this went down tells you everything you need to know. People had been whispering for a while that Sherri's show was on the chopping block, but when the confirmation finally came, it didn't come from Sherri. It came from an article. Think about that for a second. This woman shows up on your screen every single day. She's the face of the show, and she had to find out her career was being publicly dismantled the same way the rest of us did, through a headline. And listen, the timing made it even worse because that exact same day that Sherri's cancellation leaked, Kelly Clarkson got to go on camera and announce on her own terms that her show was ending. Kelly got the respect, Kelly got the microphone, Kelly got the dignity of controlling her own narrative and saying goodbye to her audience the way she wanted to. Sherri got a press release written by people who couldn't even be bothered to let her know first.
But I gotta tell you, when I first started, the show was built on one thing, and what I wanted it built on was joy. Joy. The intention of this show was always was my prayer for you to leave happier than when you came. And you know this, I've talked about this. It has been my dream to have a talk show, and I'm so grateful I got the chance to do it for 4 seasons.
And the official statement from the network was dripping with that corporate energy we all know means absolutely nothing. They talked about the evolving daytime television landscape and how the decision doesn't reflect on the strength of the show or Sherri's talent, and how they believe in the show and want to explore alternatives on other platforms. But if you actually believed any of that, I need you to read it again, because they basically said the show is great, Sherri is great, everything is great, we're just canceling it anyway. That right there should tell you something doesn't add up. Here's what makes this even more suspicious. The show was not losing money. The ratings were fine. There was reportedly a revenue surplus. So why cancel a profitable show with decent numbers? That's the question nobody can give a straight answer to. And honestly, that's because the real answer probably has nothing to do with performance metrics. From what I've been able to dig up, the split was not amicable at all. Apparently, Sherri was expecting a significant pay increase heading into what she thought would be a multi-year renewal for season 5. She had already started making demands. She wanted to film fewer days by cramming more shows into single tapings so she could free up time to pursue acting. And I get it. That's a reasonable negotiation when you're the face of a show that's making money. But reportedly, the relationship between Sherri and Debmar-Mercury had already soured sometime last year, and instead of meeting her at the table, they just pulled the plug entirely. She was blindsided. According to reports, she genuinely did not see this coming and is deeply hurt by how it played out. And I need to point something out here because this detail matters. They didn't cancel her because the show failed. They canceled her because she asked for more. There's a huge difference between those two things, and I think a lot of people are glossing over that. Now, before Wendy enters the picture, we need to talk about what happened on Sherri's show right before the cancellation, because this is where things get really interesting. You all saw that Netflix dropped what was essentially a deep dive expose into everything that went wrong with America's Next Top Model. They basically dug Tyra Banks up from 2020 cancellation just to cancel her all over again, and it reignited the entire conversation. Sherri's show became part of that firestorm because she had some of the judges from the original show come on her platform to discuss it. But even before that, Sherri had already gone to bat for Tyra publicly, talking about how Tyra was a young black woman trying to navigate an industry that wasn't built for her. How she fought to keep the show inclusive by pushing for Black, Latina, and plus-size contestants when the industry standards were completely different. She brought up how there were no intimacy coaches or therapists for contestants back then, and no social media to hold anyone accountable in real time. She credited Tyra's persistence for eventually paving the way for people like Isis King and Winnie Harlow to break through in later seasons. And yeah, Sherri acknowledged that the show treated people badly and that Tyra needs to be held accountable. But then she got emotional and said something that hit different. She said it was a different time and that people don't understand what it takes to stay on air.
People don't understand when we are in power, the battles we gotta fight that you will never know about. Never. To keep a show on the air, there are things that we have to do that people will tell us, if you want to stay on the air, this is what you got to do. And we got to weigh the options.
On the surface, that's a defense of Tyra. But when you listen to it again, knowing that Sherri's show was about to be canceled, it sounds like something else entirely. She's talking about how nobody understands what people like her go through, how they're constantly put in positions where they have to weigh what's good for them against what the industry demands. And that's when it clicked for a lot of people. She wasn't just talking about Tyra anymore, she was talking about herself. She was essentially saying out loud that the game she's being asked to play is one she doesn't want to play, and the cost of refusing is exactly what ended up happening to her. Some people believe that's literally why she was canceled, because she refused to lean into the drama and toxicity that drives daytime ratings. She kept things positive, she kept things light, and apparently that wasn't enough. And I have to say, whether you like Sherri or not, there's something really frustrating about the idea that a Black woman in daytime TV got fired, not because she failed, but because she wouldn't perform dysfunction for an audience. That's a whole separate conversation, but it needs to be said. And then there's the backstage mess that nobody talks about enough. When Sherri first took over, one of the first things she did was fire Wendy's longtime executive producers David Perler and Suzanne Bass. That decision reportedly came directly from Sherri. And look, new host, new team, that happens. But who she replaced them with is where it gets ugly. She brought on John Murray, who quickly became her closest confidant, her prayer partner, her rock. But behind the scenes, crew members described an absolute nightmare. They said Murray's ego and temper ran the entire show. He reportedly screamed at people in meetings, belittled staff regularly, and turned Sherri's dressing room into a battlefield. People said he poisoned the room, pushed his own agenda, dragged Sherri into conflicts, and turned colleagues against each other. When he finally left, staff members were literally celebrating like they'd been freed. And that environment, all of that toxicity, happened under Sherri's watch, on a show she was positioning as a positive alternative to the drama-heavy daytime landscape. The irony of that is almost too much. Okay, so now let's bring Wendy into this, because this is where the whole thing comes full circle. According to reports, Debmar-Mercury made a deliberate choice to bring Wendy back to daytime based on what they're calling popular demand. And the math is simple. Sherri's ratings were fine, but she wasn't dominating the way Wendy used to. The data trends showed a plateau, not growth, and the network wants a big revenue rejuvenation. They know Wendy Williams moves the needle in a way that very few people in daytime television ever have, and they're apparently willing to pay whatever it takes to get her back in that chair. The accommodations alone are wild. That penthouse apartment with 3 floors and a private elevator is reportedly being covered by production specifically because of Wendy's lymphedema, which affects her mobility. The mechanical purple chair that glides her onto stage means she won't have to walk out in front of the audience, which honestly is kind of iconic when you think about it. Wendy Williams making her comeback by literally being carried to her throne. On top of all that, she'll allegedly have random and scheduled sobriety testing as part of the deal, which she's agreed to. And that retroactive multi-million-dollar payment for how she was pushed out the first time, that's not just compensation, that's an acknowledgement that what happened to her was wrong, and they know it. And here's the thing that people keep forgetting. Wendy has been fighting like hell to even get to this point. She's been under guardianship since 2022 and has been clawing her way back ever since. She scored perfectly on 2 separate capacity tests and still couldn't get free because her guardian, Sabrina Morrissey, allegedly has some level of control over the next cognitive evaluation she needs. She did that Breakfast Club interview where they asked her point blank about being labeled cognitively impaired and incapacitated, and she responded like a woman who knows exactly what's what's happening around her.
But I am not cognitively impaired, you know what I'm saying? No, but I feel like I am in prison. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like I'm in New York City, right?
She's been doing interview after interview trying to spark a public conversation about her situation, and it's been working.
Clearly, they are lying to me when they say I can go out and do what I want to do. This is my niece, Alex. She just flew in from Miami, okay? I just came from the hospital. So we are going out to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? Celebrate what? I don't know. I'm from the hospital. You know what I'm saying? And of life. Right. And this is what has been done to us.
We're good.
We're good.
The fact that she could go from being under someone else's legal control to headlining a major daytime television comeback in the span of months is honestly remarkable. And anyone who underestimates this woman at this point hasn't been paying attention. But, and this is the part that makes my head spin, if Wendy goes back to television, she's potentially walking right back into the one trap she was trying to avoid. Her divorce agreement with Kevin Hunter reportedly states that she's only obligated to pay him alimony if she's working in television. That's the clause. That's why she was looking into radio before everything went sideways. Radio would have let her work without triggering those payments. Going back to TV means those checks to Kevin could start flowing again, and we already know that man has been in court 5 different times trying to squeeze every last dollar out of her. So Wendy is essentially being forced to choose between reclaiming her career on the biggest stage possible and keeping her ex-husband financially cut off. And the fact that she's apparently choosing the comeback anyway tells me something important. This woman is not scared anymore.
It's been the motto of the Hot Topics Bureau since the show was invented during our 6-week sneak peek 11 years ago, and it's so crazy because now my business is your business. It's kind of funny. Turnabout's a fair game, I get it. My business is your business.
And knowing Wendy, if she's actually moving forward with this, she's already got something figured out that the rest of us haven't thought of yet. Because this woman did not fight her way out of a guardianship, survive everything that allegedly happened to her on her own show, pass 2 capacity tests with perfect scores, and claw back her entire public image just to hand Kevin Hunter another paycheck. Whatever's coming next, she's already 10 steps ahead of everybody. And honestly, I cannot wait to watch it all play out.